Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to take a look at one day trade and a couple of swing trades that turned into day trades and then returned back into swing trades because I'm at my screens all day long, so I may as well do stuff with my fingers, right? So PME, this I was not expecting. Absolute sickening amounts of volume right on the open. Now I did not catch this on the drive up, but I did catch it on the way back down because this was sitting in the corner of my eye. Like it's on a watch list. I've got the chart open as a day two play, but never would I have expected this much volume. Let's take a look at the daily chart here and see the volumes. Right, you expect the catalyst day to have news, but get pumped. So one thing worth noting is that a stock that's 16.5 billion market cap now at the peak here, after a 10% move. That's not you can't really sustain that on a company this big. So I was looking for the reversal. I probably saw it on the 3rd or 4th minute candle, and I was just like, I can't follow this to the upside. I'll try and catch it when the book starts to turn and reverse. And this was quite literally a 20-second trade. I think it was 157.50 down to 155-ish. It was just a 20-second puke. It was beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much else to say. I did take a trade later on this as well, but I didn't take it to VWAP or anything because it looks so strong. The pullback was on okay volumes, but it wasn't anything substantial. Probably could have got an extra $1 out of it or so. That doesn't look like much, but even 500 shares, that's $1,500 in 20 seconds if you have 500 shares. Like, it's not a lot of shares. So. Yeah, sick move. Just sick move. It did break down below VWAP. Now I wasn't paying attention to this. This wasn't really my trader for the day. I caught the open. I went, okay. I don't like how it's grinding. Retest. That was probably a short opportunity there as well. But yeah, it kind of popped below VWAP. I wouldn't have expected that either. So I'm grateful I didn't watch this. But there's this pivot hit, perfect pivot hit from. This high, it's better if I open the daily chart, but this, what a pivot hit. Again, I didn't catch it. I caught it a little bit later on, but this is the pivot I was talking about that we just saw intraday. Beautiful pivot hit to the cent, and then comes back up to VWAP, and then this is where I catch it. As it broke through VWAP, I got it maybe a couple of candles late and just rode it for, I think it was $1.50 or $1.75 or something like that. It wasn't a big move at all. But I caught the momentum, and I was happy enough with that, really. So had a really good day today, and I didn't want to give back and overtrade and stuff like that. So I just took the easy wins for me near the open and through this VWAP, this just surge, this continuation. And look, I'm not thrilled with not riding the momentum, but look, happy with profit. IPX. Now, I want to highlight this chart first. This is the US chart, IPX on the US. So this rallied 7.7% overnight. You'd think IPX would do well today as well. So the way this works, this is an ADR, right? So this is the US listing. It's called an ADR, American Depository Receipt or something. I don't know what it stands for. But so 44.57 divided by 10, because there are 10 shares equivalent per ADR in this case. So it's trading at $4.57 US. So we go USD AUD and convert that, and we can see we multiply that by 1.392, which is the current price. It was actually trading a little bit higher, so it was trading at $6.22 earlier today when it was a higher conversion price. So it was trading at $6.22. So IPX on the ASX, it still did really well. It sort of retested this pivot, which is fantastic, and recovered. But if we look at the open, this is the exact same thing that happened with the previous chart we just looked at, right? It pops, it gets to 623, basically perfect to where the US listing is, and then I close it for profit, right? It's just like this move can't be sustained. On the back of what? It's going to be choppy. It's like I may as well lock in the free money and then reopen it at a better price. And that's what I did. So close it at 620, 621 average, I think it was. It comes off, it retests the lows. I'll have to double check the prints, but I'm pretty sure it was 603, 604 possibly. I'll have to double check. And then close it at 618. So I know, it sounds like bullshit, right? It sounds like bullshit, but where is it? Where is it? The snipping tool. So it was, yeah, 621 average. I rebought at 605, 607, closed at 618, and then rebought it at 602, 601, and 600 as it was coming off. So basically, it was coming back down here, and I just buy as it came back down again one more time, bought it again at 600. And so what was surprising is because at this point in time, it's at 2.4% out of the US listing, which is trading at $6.22, which is 7.7%. And I did not expect a retest of these kind of lows here. This previous closing price looked like where it was actually holding. There was quite a bit of liquidity here, and I just didn't for the life of me expect it. So I didn't add on because I put in quite a bit at these levels here. So I saved myself quite a few ticks. Obviously, I took all the profits, rebought, profit, rebought. So I'm really happy with it actually today. And then it dips back down. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to stop out if this keeps going. If this starts dipping, I don't know, maybe somewhere around 580, it really depends on the price action and the volumes. High volumes, I'd definitely get rid of it. Low volume trickle down, fake out maybe, it wouldn't concern me too much, but I'd have to be super cautious for tomorrow if that was the case. And then it comes back to $6 at the end of the day, and that was totally expected, by the way. I was saying in chat that the Arvo is going to be a recovery because we're going to see on Vulcan next. Same sort of idea. Not same sort of idea. I'll talk through, but it had an Arvo recovery. So it closed at around $6, just above 601. So, it looks okay. It looks healthy still. Not the best day, especially considering what happened in the US. So, if the US listing continues even higher, then we may see a bit more of a strong rebound off these levels because we are already 20 cents behind. And you might be wondering, well, is the ASX listing the dominant one or the US listing? Well, it's the US because it trades the equivalent, I think, dollar value of about 3 million, whereas we traded about 1.5 million or something like that. Or was it the share amount? Yeah, 1.5 shares in millions. And then, in the US, it trades much more equivalent. So there's that. We're going to take a look at Vulcan. Now, this one was not a surprise. We talked about it ad nauseum that this was going to be a pullback day, most likely. Like I said yesterday, if it wasn't going to be a pullback, we have small amount of shares, we've got an entry, a starter, then great, we can rally, push on, and if we break highs, there's an add-on opportunity, right? There's ways to build on this position without just sitting on a small entry starter and then just watching it run away from us. So let's take a look at the intraday. Now, I do want to point out the US was not performing very well overnight. The lithium ETF and basically most of the main commodities pulled back. So when this opened red, around 408, 407, whatever it was, I was like, okay, this is kind of going as planned. And then it started popping to the upside, and I was like, okay, this is free money for me, right? Free break-even money. I got out for break-even. And this popped all the way to 417. Whereas I think my entry was 412, 411, 412 from the day before. I think it was 412. Either way, P&L was flat, just paid commissions, and I was happy with it. So I knew this was going down based on the price action overseas. Like, there's no way this was going green today. It just wasn't. And if it did, then shit, I'd be out of luck, and I'd have to fuck around trying to, if this rallied to the upside, I had to find maybe a VWAP pullback for the leg up or something like that. I'd have to weasel my way in, but that's okay. It was a starter position. We cut out of it because of what happened in the US, and then it sunk. Beautiful. I was waiting for it to break. Like I said. Like I've been talking, maybe I think I mentioned like 3 or 4 videos now in the last 2 weeks. What happens when you break a major number? Like $4, $5, $10, $100, what happens? It fucking breaks through every fucking time, right? $4 breaks down, gets to $3.97. And what was I saying about my add-on yesterday? What was the add-on point? It was going to be $4 and just below $4. So it broke down. On the way back up, I added on. Well, I rebought, not added on, because I closed this position here. So I bought back in $4, and then as it came down, I added on just a little bit more, just a little bit. I didn't want to go too heavy because this was looking pretty nasty as it was coming towards the end of the day. I was expecting an afternoon rally just to recover a little bit. I mean, I didn't expect it to get to yesterday's closing price of 413 because that wouldn't make sense. The way the ETFs were overnight were down 1.2, 1.5% or something like that. So from previous close to where we look at that 1.6. I mean, it's basically where it should be, bar a couple of basis points or something like that, a few basis points, I should say. So yeah, it closed perfectly. There's breakthrough VWAP, just like Sol Pattinson we talked about the other day. SOL. Now again, so that's where we're at with Vulcan. It held exactly as we expected. It sort of pulled back to the level we expected. It did miss this 394. Didn't come back as much to retest yesterday's low and this body, if you will, body of candles. That's fine. It perfectly went into zone, recovered, and is acceptably red given the circumstances of what happened overnight in the US. So I'd say this is perfect at the moment. Obviously, if the US starts fucking collapsing, the ETFs go to shit, commodities shit themselves, yeah, this is never going to be a winning trade, right? It's just not. Based on the bullish setup, based on how things are, let me rephrase that. I at least got the best entry possible given the bullish setup. That and the risk here is so fucking low, and the reward is reasonably high, right? Relative to the risk. It's very good. It's very good here. I'm super stoked with it. Obviously, I've got to wait a few more days and see what happens, but so far, going according to plan. Exactly. So, SOL. No, not Solana. SOL, where is it? All the way down here. This one, a little bit awkward. I was watching this all day. Again, just like Vulcan, just like IPX. Sorry, not IPX, but just like Vulcan. The markets were not doing crash hot in the US. This was a key pivot point. We did, by we, I mean me, close out as it broke down. But, fake out, baby, right back up. We got back in the moment it recovered. Got back in. So, mind you, we didn't close the entire position out. This was a scale out. We probably got out maybe like 30%. And as it recovered, I doubled the position. Because this to me is a fake out, right? And a fake out into a strong recovery. Obviously, I didn't know it was going to fully recover. You don't know what happens at VWAP. You know, if it goes to VWAP and comes right back down, I'm most likely closing the entire position because that looks nasty. But this was a beautiful recovery. So yeah, it's looking really good at the moment. There was a little bit of fuckery. Yeah, I'm going to pay a little bit of extra commission because of what happened. But at least, you know, we sold at a loss. We rebought. The position's doing way better, right? If this goes further, starts actually tanking with volumes, then yeah, there's no choice. I'll have to cut. I'll just have to cut the entire position. So this is, I guess you get to see in real time as I talk about these trades and the stops. And when I talk about stops, I don't put in hard stops if I'm at the screens because there's no need. I'm here. I'm looking at the volumes. I'm looking at the book. I'm looking at how it trades. I don't need a hard stop if I'm trading something at the screens. If I'm going out to lunch, you better fucking bet I got hard stops on, right? Because I have to manage the risk. There's literally no alternative. And you know, if I had a day job or something, then yeah, the stop losses that I talk about would be hard stops, and it wouldn't work out as well. But so this one. Yes, we did get stopped out 30, 35%, a third of the position roughly, right? As it comes off, we're going to have to hit out if it keeps going. But if it ends up being a fake out and recovers, get the fuck back in is what I'm going to do. And a lovely outcome. Now, this is where I'm going to take a pretty hardline approach in that if this comes back below this pivot here at below 42.30 tomorrow, under any circumstance, it is a cut. It's not going to be a like, oh, I'll take off a third, I'll watch the position, look for a fake out. No, it's already done that. It's done that. This is the we're continuing upwards signal for me. And then if that is a fail, whether it's because it's just whatever, the US goes down hard, or the stock decides to go down, or there's a catalyst news announcement that tanks it. It doesn't matter. This is the hard stop now. This is the I'm triggering and executing not a short, but I will close everything when it starts trickling below 42.30. So that's the play. So there's not going to be any more of this. I'm going to watch it and see how it behaves. No. It's going to be a hard fucking get out of there for me the moment it goes below 42.30 from here onwards. So that's the play. It's holding support. Yes, it wicked down a couple of times. It's looking fine. I like the chart. I like the chart. So that is exactly what it is at the moment. I hope you guys learned something from the intraday stuff here. I mean, you know, things like I think this Vulcan one is quite important. You know, and this does come from the fact that I'm on the screens, right? Like, I know there's some of you who swing trade that maybe have day jobs and shit, you're doing other things, you don't have the opportunity to, you know, at 10 o'clock in the morning to close the position because you know it's red in the US just to reopen it later, right? And based on what I've talked about with this $4 level, this round dollar level happens to line up with these major pivot points that we've been pointing out. I mean, these are really no-brainer levels, like no-brainer levels. That doesn't mean it's going to be profitable. There's no guarantees that it fucking works, right? This does hedge a lot on like three things. One, does the market still like it and carry momentum? Two, does the US behave because it's driven heavily by US and commodities? And thirdly, I guess my third point was commodities actually. So, and commodity pricing. So, yeah. I really like to emphasize the point that there are no guarantees, just probabilities, right? Sorry, statistics, not probabilities. Probabilities is the wrong word. Statistics. Statistical likelihood, statistical outcomes, and managing the risk, right? If this falls through and we have a losing trade, guess what? That is going to be the best fucking loss you'll ever see on the internet, on the ASX. This is going to be the best fucking loss because guess what? It starts breaking down below 392, 390. Guess what's going to happen? This is going to happen. Oh, where is it? Car. It's probably going to look exactly like this. It breaks down and it continues. Yeah, it's breaking back up. Holy shit, this actually looks really fucking good right now. I wasn't anticipating to talk about car today, but here we are. I might watch this one because that is a sick setup. This used to be an old school crypto setup actually. This used to be a crypto setup and actually it would, so let me talk you through this. Wow, I'm going on a fucking tangent. I wasn't expecting this, but here we are. This sort of wedge, when it fakes out and recovers, this used to be a like classic crypto setup. Yeah, like on the like 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart. That brought me some flashbacks right there because in crypto land, it would fuck you up and fake you out. Like everyone and their dog would be like, hey, this is breaking out. And then it breaks down. And everyone's like, this is going to break down and retest the lows. And then it just fucking randomly flips. And everyone's like, it's going to be a long here. And then it resists and then starts trading properly. It holds support and then breaks to the upside. It's a whole thing. Like this is 2019 crypto trading, like classic bullshit. Anyway, go have some dinner, enjoy yourself, have a drink on me, boys and girls. Catch you in the next video. Peace.